Okay, so if you're wondering how this workbench ended up outside, but I know you're all gonna be a little bit confused of why it's outside and why is there rust burnt all over it. So I was trying to do a chainsaw comparison, Husqavra versus Steel MS250, but it didn't run right. And I had to have a little bit of fight with it, and I had to get to the carburetor to adjust the jets about a quarter turn counterclockwise. But it's running a Poland 18-inch bar. It was struggling cutting, but I just got done weed whacking by my porch about a few moments ago, and I got this thing to run right. I'm going to use my phone to show you how I set the carburetor jets if you're having the same problem. See these jets in there? You want to turn this about a quarter turn counterclockwise, and then you want to turn to high about a quarter turn counterclockwise just a little bit. Once you get that set, leave the auto speed tuned alone. Switch it on, put your cover back on, move it away from your bench, and give it a yank. That's how you want your saw to run. But you want to make sure you got plenty of oil in your oil tank. You don't want to run it without oil. If you run it without oil, it'll cause your saw to run poorly, and it's going to have trouble running, and your chain is going to get stuck when you're cutting the wood. But I may end up taking this back to the cedar tree and give it another try. But I will definitely give this thing another try. Let me turn to high just a little bit in. It gets real tricky with these screws on the carburetor. And you can turn your auto jet up just a little if you want. But I'm going to leave it right there. But it don't matter. But I'm going to get the weeder and the blower drain since I got done using them. Then I'll be back with you just a moment. Oh, I forgot to tell you a story about this bench. So what happened is I was working on my Uncle Daryl's chainsaw before I get to work on it. He got the saw started while the gas was leaking out of the tank. But actually, I'm going to show you my Husqavra, show you where the gas is coming out of it. It was coming out of the Poulan's tank about right here and pouring over the hot spot. When he opened the cap, he put the gas in it, and I did find out what the problem is, that the fuel line was definitely too skinny for a bigger hole in the tank. And that's how it started a fire. When it popped, when I hold the throttle wide open by it, and I should have just taken it outside and done it, but it start burning the bench. It burnt this part off. But you could definitely peel this stuff off and get it repainted. Jim's got some new stuff he's going to add on to it for me. But it's very important to have your fire extinguishers with you. If you had a fire, you got to have these just in case an emergency. But you do not use them until you need them. And those are my Uncle Jim's fire extinguishers. We had to use both of them to put that fire out. It didn't burn the rest of the stuff in these two, but thank goodness. But it was just about half goner, but luckily the fire wasn't big in the garage. If it was big, that garage would have been burnt down completely. And my butt would have been some huge trouble if that ever happens. But whenever you had a fire, do not panic, and do not panic. Grab your fire extinguisher to put it out. If a fire's too big, you call the fire department immediately. But don't ever start a chainsaw or any two-cycle equipment inside the garage. They're only outside tools. You're only allowed to start the saws and the weed eaters outside in the opening so that the exhaust fumes wouldn't catch anything on fire. And my Uncle Daryl thought his pull-on chainsaw wouldn't catch on fire, but it did. But it didn't burn the saw. It did start a fire and pop off, but the fire went out. But luckily, it still works. I'm very lucky it still works, but everything's okay. But he got it home with him, but I'm not going to end up keeping it, but it is a 2003 Pull-On Pro 42cc 260 chainsaw with an 18-inch bar on it. But all that stuff wasn't burnt, but thank gosh it wasn't burnt. But I wasn't hurt. I knew when I see a fire, I get out and stay out of the building. And I did call my mom about that situation. I told her we had a fire situation. She did tell me she was on her way to help, but we did mistakenly put water on the gas fire. But do not put water on the gas fires, because if you do that, that's going to cause the fire to spread with the water. And that's definitely a bad idea. I recommend you use a fire extinguisher to put out that fire. But we did got some replacement ones, but luckily we got them. That way we're all set in case of an emergency. But I'm going to go ahead and get the weeder and the leaf blower all drained out. And I'll be back with you in a few moments. And we'll take that and the 240 back out to the cedar tree and give them another try. So I'll be back with you in a minute.